Good morning, children and big children. We're going to have an interesting story this morning about this little girl, Abigail. And I just noticed that our offering is going to Kenya. And this little girl is Kenyan. Her brother's on the right side, my husband's on the back, and we're doing a little bit of community service there for that elderly woman in her 90s. And Abigail had faith. She had faith enough to pray for something very special. Her babysitter was watching her, and she says, I really want a little sister. And she kept saying, I really want a little sister. And the babysitter said, well, Faith, why don't you ask Jesus for a babysitter? And so Faith, for a year or so, she prayed for a little sister. She got real specific in her prayer. She says, Lord, I want a little sister, and I want her to be Faith. I want her name to be Faith. Well, she continued to pray alone. She prayed at meals. She prayed at worship time. She prayed at church. Jesus, send me a little sister named Faith. Now, this story didn't happen in Kenya. Abigail's parents were from Kenya, but Abigail was born in this country, and her big brother on the right there, he was born in Kenya. But they live in Springfield, Illinois, where we came from. So I listened to Abigail say her prayers, and we kind of smile because sometimes God says no. Sometimes he says yes, and sometimes he says wait. Well, Mama had a secret. Only Daddy knew. Abigail's parents only knew the secret, and a couple friends. One day Dad said to by the way, Abigail wanted a little sister because she had 3 older brothers, and she was the only girl in the family. So this was very important to her. So one day Daddy announces, children, we need to go to the hospital. Your mother's in the hospital. And the children, they were so scared. Why was Mom in the hospital? Daddy wasn't explaining it. Maybe she was very, very, very ill. So they all got in their car. They drove to the hospital. They went inside the hospital. They went up in the elevator to the right floor. And they walked down the hall. And they found Mother's room. And they went in there so frightened. But Mama wasn't alone. Mama had a baby, a little baby girl. And she says, I want you to see Faith. Where did that baby come from? The children didn't know. Well, the secret is with Mrs. Malit, Abigail's mother, is that when she carries her babies, they're way up high in her abdomen, and nobody can tell. She doesn't get big like lots of mommies when she's pregnant. She holds it up high, and Mama kept that secret from her family for 9 months. None of them knew. Now, was Abigail excited? Here's what happened. There's little Faith. Now, Faith isn't exactly a baby there. She's about 2 years old. And there's a picture of me and Faith. Faith got big enough that she could join my adventure club. And this is when we're on a camp out and it rained. And this is at another adventure outing in Illinois. Faith is a little girl in my Sabbath school. But she's the answer to prayer. Now, should you pray for a baby sister, a baby brother? You can. You never know what will happen. But God answered Faith's prayer. If you have faith as a grain of mustard seed, you can say unto this mountain, remove to hence to yonder place, and it will remove. But sometimes God answers prayers differently than we anticipate. Sometimes he says yes, sometimes he says no, and sometimes he says wait a while. So be prepared. Just keep praying faithfully like Abigail did, and God will bless you with just the right answer to your prayers. You may go sit down.